morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. My name is Callie, and this is another weekend of clarinets, cats, and coffee. In today's video, I am going to give you a pretty etude in the key of F sharp minor to practice. It's nice and legato and just absolutely lovely. And I'm also going to do something that I was actually inspired to do by one of my patrons and actually from a few of my viewers here on the channel as well. And both the patrons and viewers requested that I do a video talking about different adjectives that describe clarinet sound. And so I'm going to, one, give you the adjectives that I use to describe a good sound on clarinet. And then I'm going to give you three different undesirable clarinet qualities. And this is all subjective. This is all just, me using words to describe sound that I don't like. And I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to avoid those pitfalls in your own playing and how to overcome them when you run into those problems. Before we get into that, I would like to thank my patrons for supporting my channel. You guys keep me going, you keep me inspired. I love hearing from you. If you're not already a patron of my channel, you can support this channel on a monthly basis for as little as $3 a month. You just click on the link below in the description and then you're on board and you get your PDFs early for these Saturday morning videos and a bunch of other cool stuff. And I hold patron events every month as well, so be sure to check out the perks. In addition to that, I also have a Facebook group dedicated to this YouTube channel, and it's a practice group, which means that you guys are supposed to practice the weekly excerpt, record yourselves, and then put it up on the Facebook group. So it gives you the opportunity to perform for others, get some feedback, and if you're looking for a little bit of encouragement or if you're really stuck and you need some help, just record and put it up. We don't care. We want to hear it, and I want to hear you guys, and I love seeing how active you guys have been lately. So I've also included a link in the description below for you guys to join that as well. And I think that's been around for about a year now, which is pretty cool. So, and it's grown quite a bit. So I look forward to seeing more of you joining the group. All right, let's get started on this journey of describing clarinet sound. In my opinion, a good tone on clarinet is centered. It's focused, it's even going from note to note, it's colorful, meaning that you can hear overtones, low to high. There's a little bit of warmthness to it, a little bit of what some may call roundness to it, meaning there aren't any little like buzzes or edges kind of poking out. And some may describe warm, dark, rich, and I think I already mentioned this, but projected and kind of a big sound. So those are qualities that I tend to listen for in other people's playing, and what I try to coach my students on achieving, and what I also try to achieve myself. And so when we say centered, it means that the sound itself doesn't have, in my opinion anyway, you guys may have a different opinion, but it doesn't have a bunch of like extra noise around. So you could say centered or pure or focused. In my thoughts, they're all more or less kind of the same thing. So there's not a bunch of extraneous noise. It's just very pure. But we don't always want just like a laser beam of sound coming out. And so, we can adjust our air to add a little bit more warmth to the sound and change, the timbre and the color of the sound to get a spectrum of tone, which is one of the things that makes the clarinet really unique and beautiful and fun to play. But it's also this flexibility of sound that we have, the control of sound that we have, is also one of the hardest things to do on clarinet, to keep a consistent sound all the time when we play. So those are some of the things that I look for and that I listen for in my playing. Now, one of the biggest things that I'll see, if people will post on, maybe Facebook groups, and they're like, man, I love this, but I feel like my sound is kind of pinched or buzzy or bright or tinny or spitty or kind of small. Do you have any suggestions on how to get a better sound? How can I get out of this? So that spectrum of clarinet sound, when I hear tinny, buzzy, bright, pinched, sometimes even spitty, but that can happen for any number of reasons, or just kind of a small sound. So when I hear that or I see that written, most of the time the player is playing on a reed that is a little bit too soft, and potentially even a mouthpiece that doesn't match the reed, or the reed that doesn't match the mouthpiece very well. And so it just doesn't have enough resistance to blow against. And so when you don't have enough resistance to blow against, you hold back your air, and you're getting vibration from the reed when you blow, but it's not a lot of vibration, and your sound and your tone and your air isn't really traveling very far through the instrument, so you're not getting a whole lot of projection. So if you feel like you're running into that kind of problem in your sound, I would suggest trying a slightly harder reed than what you're playing on, and maybe even try different brands, and maybe even try cane versus synthetic reeds. Some people have much more luck playing on synthetic reeds than they do on cane reeds. So I know we're not all made of money, so I would say the first thing you should do is just try slightly harder reeds and see if that helps, because what you want is to get more air through the instrument and more wind and just a little bit more resistance to blow against. Now, if you go too far and you're like playing and your sound is kind of muffled, it's a little bit airy, it's sounding kind of fuzzy, you're feeling kind of red in the face, we all kind of know what that is when our reed is just too hard. There's too much resistance for the mouthpiece that we're playing on. And some of us out there, I think, are a little bit overcommitted to playing on, strength 5 reeds and, a really open mouthpiece, and which, those kinds of combinations can work for some people, but they don't work for many people, and it won't work for everyone. So if your tone is, if you feel like you're working too hard to get, that center, that focus, that purity of your sound, and it just feels like you're just blowing lots of wind, there are a couple things you can do. One, you could just try playing on a softer reed for your mouthpiece and look at the manufacturer's suggestion. And if you're playing on something that is a bit too hard for what they're suggesting, then try whatever models or brands that they suggest to go with it. The other thing that you could do is try taking in a deeper breath of air. Sometimes we get into this habit of breathing with like this much of our lung capacity. We don't take in deep enough breaths of air. And so, with a reed that was good a couple of weeks ago, and it's not working so great now, if you think about, oh, well, I took 2 weeks off from playing, here I am. I feel like breathing deeply is like one of the first things to go whenever I'm a little out of shape. So just take in a nice deep belly breath. And as I've said before, imagine saying the word home in reverse to get the air all the way down into your belly. So if that works for you, then great. You've got just the right resistance. You just need a little bit more air to work with to blow it through the entire length of the instrument. And then the last big, I think, undesirable sound that clarinet players will come across is that kind of like honky, I say open, but sometimes open can be a desirable trait as well in one's playing. So, so I'm gonna say like open and flat is what I'm gonna say. So if you're playing high notes and they sound really like kind of flat and open, and the sound just seems to be a bit honky, try this, okay? So make sure your embouchure is set up the right way. Make sure you're not puffing out your cheeks. If you feel like your embouchure is set up, bottom lip over bottom teeth, chin flat, corners in, cheeks, nice seal around your teeth, and you're playing, but you're still like, ho, kind of like that. Think about what you're doing with your tongue position. So I suggest keeping your tongue high, like you're going like shh, or like whooshing your air through your instrument, or ooh, like a higher kind of syllable inside your mouth. So try that, and don't let the pressure of the air blow your tongue to the bottom of the mouth. You got to keep it high, and you have to keep it very direct and very focused going at the reed, okay? So I know this is all just kind of like a whole bunch of words that are being thrown at you, and you're just gonna try stuff out and see what works. But the best thing you can do if you really want to get a better sound on clarinet is to find a private teacher and work with them and let them coach you over however many lessons it takes to get the kind of sound that you're looking for. So, find a teacher whose sound you like, and see if they'll give you a few lessons, even just give you advice on like what mouthpiece reed ligature combination to use. Because sometimes even just a scratch on your mouthpiece can really screw up an otherwise beautiful tone and give you that kind of edge and stuff. So a teacher will be able to like pick up on those things better than the student may. So that's my suggestion. Like, go out, find a teacher, and get some feedback. So I'm going to go ahead and play this etude for you, and patrons, you guys have a link to the PDF in your inbox, because I send it to you guys in a post every week. Everyone else, you can find this on IMSLP. I have a link in the description below. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you. Enjoy. All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. I had a great time playing that for you. I hope you enjoy practicing that. And, you know, if you have any questions or thoughts or anything you would like to add to the clarinet tone discussion, please leave it here in the comments below. I mean, there are so many words out there to describe clarinet sound, and what I think is one thing, you know, maybe described very completely different by somebody else, okay? So this is not the end-all be-all of clarinet sound. It will at least get you started in trying to figure out your own sound and your own journey. Have a wonderful weekend this week, have a good week next week, and as always, happy practicing.